Hi, I'm David Manty, and welcome to a new episode of the Today in Manufacturing podcast. With me this week are Jeff Reinke and Ben Munson. We're the editors of Manufacturing.net, Industrial Equipment News, Medical Design and Development, and we each have more than 20 years of experience covering the manufacturing industry. Each week, we take the three biggest stories on our websites and discuss the implications they have on the industry going forward. Before we get started, please make sure to like, share, and subscribe to the podcast. You could also help us out a lot by leaving the podcast a positive review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you watch us. Finally, if you want to email the podcast, you can reach any of us at Ben, Jeff, or David at in.com with email the podcast in the subject line. We're also live every Thursday, so subscribe to us on YouTube at IN Magazine so you get that tiny little bell notification whenever we go live. Jeff, how you doing this week?
Pretty good, man. How are you?
Oh, been better. But we're here. And
you've had a week.
It's been a week. It's one of those where someone was talking about, like, at least it's already Thursday. And I'm like, oh, is it? Where are we and when is it? It's been a rough one. But, Ben, how you doing this week?
I'm great. It's a blessing to be here.
It really is. It's our honor, to have you here joining us.
Yeah.
I mean, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. I love it.
Well, let's get into it. This week's episode is brought to you by OutSystems and the State of AI Development 2026. AI has moved past the, quote, experimentation phase. Today, 96% of organizations are already using AI agents, but 94% of leaders admit that, quote, AI sprawl is creating massive security risks and technical debt. Read The State of AI Development 2026 to see how the world's most successful companies are moving from simple chatbots to complex agentic systems without losing control of their governance or architecture. So download The State of AI Development 2026 right now. Our first story this week: AI biffs design in Ram t-shirt gaff. I hope you like your content extra AI sloppy, because this one has auto experts telling Dodge Ram it, quote, should be embarrassed. Enthusiasts of the Ram brand recently uncovered a slew of odd items in Ram's merch store. One of the particular items was the 2026 Ram Patriotic Unisex t-shirt in all caps, so they were shouting it at you. And the patriotic part was a rippling Old Glory flying in the background. The Ram part was a graphic of a pickup truck with the words Ram Power underneath. Well, as for the patriotism, the American flag featured just 38 stars, which makes it current as of 1876 when Colorado was brought into the Union. As for the Ram, well, it was more of a sheep in Ram's clothing. According to a report from Autopia, the truck was actually a 2023 Toyota Tacoma. Once the AI accident became a viral sensation, the shirt and other items were with the graphic were pulled from the site. This isn't the first and likely won't be the last AI slop drop from a major automaker. In March, Stellantis had another AI swing and a miss when the Dodge brand used its Instagram account to feature, quote, throwback photos of some of its old models. The photos were AI generated, and some of the models in the photo never existed. No. So, Jeff, what's worse? Marketing AI slop, or the fact that it looks pretty clear that a Ram rep never looked at these designs?
Yes.
Yes, that is fair.
Yes.
All bad.
Very much so. And just to offer a little more perspective, this is more than just promotional stuff. This merchandise, this is like $1 billion business for all of these big brands, including Ram and Stellantis here. So in addition to all the promotional blowback, all the negative publicity they got from this, it's also like a revenue loss potentially. Yeah. I mean, they're losing product that could be making them money, which the margins on this stuff is usually pretty good too. So there's that part of it. I'm the blocking and tackling guy. I've been pretty clear about, the fundamentals, the basics here. So I always just wonder what made us overlook this? Because putting the correct vehicle on your shirt, it doesn't get much more blocking and tackling than that.
Yeah, I get it. I get it if you don't count all the stars. you know?
Right.
Like you're just like, it looks like 50.
Make them fit.
Sure.
Nobody would probably have even noticed if it weren't both of these things put together.
Yeah.
But I think it just comes at this. One of the things that always leads people to overlook all the little things is just this speed to get things done and over-reliance on technology potentially, no quality controls. Feels like they checked every single one of those boxes here.
Yeah.
If they were this reliant on artificial intelligence to promote these types of marketing materials, you still need a human being to QA this stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, this should be pretty much second nature, especially to a manufacturing company.
Mm-hmm.
So when you see all of these things sort of come together, it just illustrates how one of those things affects everything else.
Yeah.
Like, don't become so reliant on the fact that AI will never hallucinate, which we know is not the case.
Yeah.
Quality control them, double check that stuff so that you're not making these types of mistakes, because the sales that they would have generated from the shirt are definitely not the same as the negative ramifications of putting something out that doesn't have your product on it.
Well, it's
So,
I was curious about that.
did you like ramifications?
I liked ramifications.
Thank you.
It was
that was
very
intentional.
good.
That was intentional.
It was, I mean, and the prompt. It was patriotic Ram truck shirts.
America.
Freedom 250 America. And it was just like, here you go. And they're like, looks good, print it. If you're going to charge people to be a walking advertisement, which is crazy that this is a $1 billion industry to basically get people to promote your brands. At least the least you could do is get it right.
Make sure it is your truck.
Yeah. And that was the other incredible oversight for me, is that, like, I don't know who was outsourced to do this or what rookie inside of Stellantis or Dodge was doing this, but like the fact that they didn't know it was their truck, that's insane to me. Just like, that one doesn't look familiar. Truck.
Yeah,
fine. America.
Exactly.
Ben, is there going to be a better mascot for Gen Z than AI slop?
Well, I don't want to put it all on them. I mean, yeah, this is
because the reason I mention it is because there is a huge blowback right now in terms of Gen Z coming into the market and really kind of being ready to battle this kind of AI slop for jobs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that to me is one of the biggest kind of bummers of this whole thing. You know, for a company and a brand that talks so much about the American spirit and being American made, Dodge Ram, it's kind of their whole brand. Then here they are kind of skipping over a lot of potentially American creative workers and just putting out this AI generated trash instead. And that sucks.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I think a person could have done a much better job. And it's really clear. And this should be embarrassing for them, but I think there's other instances. I found one, they had a commercial, an actual like TV commercial depicting the Boston Tea Party in 1773, which was before the earliest version of the Betsy Ross flag, but there it is on the boat. With 50 or so flags. It actually looks like more. It looks like 75 flags maybe if you were to unfold it and like kind of get a really good look at it.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't even have existed at that time, but it wouldn't have looked like that if it would have been on the boat. So
well, and it's amazing how quickly we have transitioned to it being a cool tool, and think of the limitless possibilities to people being just so easily able to identify this is AI slop.
Yeah. And I also feel like it kind of chips away at consumer confidence with AI.
Yeah.
Which it's at an unfortunate time, because even it was Stellantis, I think just last month, said that they were partnering with a company called Wave to integrate their AI-based driver tech into the Stellantis STLA auto drive platform. And, you know, so at a time when they're saying, we want to let AI drive the car for you. But it's like, but AI can't tell the difference between a Ram and a Tacoma. Yeah. AI can't figure out how many stars are on the American flag.
Yeah.
Why should I let AI get behind the wheel? AI is drunk.
Yeah. AI will look at the flag that you're wearing, realize that you're driving in 1876, and be forced to abide by those traffic laws.
Yeah, there were no traffic laws. They're like, we can go as fast as we want because we are in the 1800s.
How much do you think these things are actually going to be worth? Because I see there being all of a sudden a surge in both like Ram and Toyota enthusiasts wanting to kind of get their hands on these shirts because like it's it's so bad it's good now. Like, but it's they weren't even on eBay yet. I was getting ready to bid on one.
Yeah, and if inevitably people are going to reprint these shirts and sell them on third-party sites, and does this become a copyright issue? And for who?
Yeah,
Toyota.
True. Well, and that was the other thing.
That's our truck. Yeah,
yeah. We want a cut of this.
Yeah.
I was wondering also, are there going to be collectors? Will there be people that have nostalgia for this AI slop time? Where they're like collecting this type of artifacts. So that way there could be like an AI slop museum. I mean, just because it's so abundant. I don't know. I could see that being a real thing. And it also, do you think?
But then it kind of rewards them.
I know. That's like, and it's terrible. But it's, how some things become so bad, it all of a sudden becomes a positive. Where it's just like, yeah, we're getting a lot of heat for this, but like we're getting a lot of heat. It's not a happy accident, but I do think it is still more of an embarrassment, especially because they're in the automotive sector. But I don't know. I feel like, Jeff, does this get into all press is good press for you at all?
No, definitely not. This is definitely not an example of that. Yeah, I don't know about it becoming collectible, more notorious, I think. More. I think there's way more negative than anything coming out of this one. Well, and a lot of this stuff too.
So do you think brands are more protected from AI slop mistakes versus like legit deliberate redesigns? Like I'm thinking Ferrari's EV that recently and continues to be just hilariously panned by everybody in the world. Jaguar comes to mind. Like those were multi-million-dollar efforts to rebrand companies and launch new products. And
I still think the attention or the focus goes on the brand, not the technology.
Yeah.
I don't think people are bashing AI. They're bashing, RAM here saying you should have caught this.
Yeah.
I think that's more the legacy of these types of situations.
Well, because this is such a good idea, I decided to have AI throw together a couple of designs for the Today in Manufacturing podcast for us. Now, I don't know if producer Eric can bring these up for us, but so here's the first one. I don't know if you can zoom in. So this is pretty standard, just Today in Manufacturing with a bunch of generic kind of iStock components in there. The podcast, industry, innovation, insights, and also the inmanufacturing.com. It just completely invented a URL for us.
Wow.
At the bottom. That was pretty good. All right. The second one for us, it was, make it a little, I just said do better. And so it made it a little bit more basic. You have your standard podcast microphone there. Today in Manufacturing, again, kind of generic. I'm like, maybe incorporate the hosts a little bit. And so the third one, I thought was pretty great because if you could zoom into this, it kind of goes back to the original design. But so basically, it made Jeff Homelander from The Boys. And I don't know. I'm like kind of a weird hybrid of like Bob Vila and like Billy Mays. And I don't even just generic Anna looks like maybe the model for some sort of toy. I know that's somebody, but I couldn't identify it. But again,
not even on it.
Hold on. Just also. And it says, instead of hosts, it just has like random gibberish above our names. And then it did change the URL to another URL that doesn't exist. But got it to be a better fake URL.
Yeah.
And then, so, I mean, this one's okay. This one's not bad. Best working. And then, since you were joining us today, Ben, I was like, well, could we get a t-shirt for guest host Ben Munson, and it is like the best of all of them. It has it's like half sort of half man, half android. It has the coverage in the medical, even the cable and wireless industry, if you see that. Design and development twice, the Cannabis Equipment News logo. And it says, the manufacturing chameleon, Ben Munson, unpacking the stories that drive the industry. But
AI clearly likes you the best.
This is very nice.
Yeah.
And I would like to have it. So, yeah, I think let's go ahead with this.
I think so. And it even had it on the sleeve, like manufacturing.net and IN on the sleeve. But then it said established 2021. So does that mean you're like 5?
Mm-hmm.
You're such an accomplished 5-year-old.
This all checks out. Yep.
Yeah. No, but I was, they were getting better. And then it came up with the Ben Munson shirt. I'm like, that is a stone cold winner right there. But anyway, as you like to say, Ben, I'm glad that I drained 3 lakes worth of water to come up with these designs.
Yeah, when I'm dying of thirst, I'm going to have that shirt and it's going to be okay.
Just like worth it. Do you guys recognize who Anna actually is in this one? Like, I know that is some sort of personality, but it's just not coming out to me. We'll have these posted on the site. So if you guys could give us any help.
It kind of looks like the podcast for Boy Meets World.
Oh, that's
is that Topanga?
Topanga.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's, there are just so many photos of us everywhere, and they're just like, nah, Jeff's Homelander. Just like, who's the most evil person in pop culture right now? Whoa. Does Homelander ever say, like, the thing that leads to the thing?
I don't think so.
This murder will lead to more murder.
Yeah.
All right. Well, our next story, the Spud King fined for illegal potato chip factory. If you are known as the Spud King and you manufacture Spuddy's chips that you sell at your Spud Shed stores, wouldn't it be in your best interest to operate in a licensed factory? And if you weren't, that's okay. Wouldn't it be in your best interest to maybe fly under the radar with your illicit chip operation? Finally, how could you ever believe that it was in your Spud Empire's best interest to hold a grand opening event at your black market Spud shop? So no matter how you slice it, it looks like Tony Galati, the Spud King, is fried. The news comes after Galati was fined by Australian authorities who were tipped off when this, quote, Spud King planned and notified regulators about the factory's grand opening event. The Galati Group was caught manufacturing without a license and for dumping non-oily chip-making waste without a license, which also sounds bad even if you have a license. Where is that going? What kind of hot spring? They were fined about $14,000 in US dollars. Galati is a well-known potato grower in Western Australia. He actually played a key role in the full deregulation of the state's potato industry. Even after the Potato Marketing Corporation was cooked, Galati was still found in contempt for purposefully planting more potatoes than allowed. That's also a thing. In 2024, the Australian Competition and Consumer Commission hit Galati with more than $60,000 in fines for trading with at least 4 growers without a horticulture produce agreement in place. So, Ben, you said that the Spud King sounds like a potato man who doesn't play by anyone else's potato rules. But is it the man or the fact that the penalties are harsh enough to keep him from running a spoiled potato racket?
Well, first of all, I want to acknowledge the Spud King and his really strong brand.
Yeah.
And his very powerful look. I don't know if you can bring him up, but this guy is playing with fire with this look. That is very strong.
No, it is when you're thinking of like a black market Spud King, he's like that what the AI would generate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he is very anti-potato regulation. And he is almost kind of comes across as sort of like this potato Robin Hood. But even if his actions are a little reckless, he really bristled at the potato tonnage limits enforced by the former Potato Marketing Corporation, which was dissolved in 2016, I believe, due to his efforts.
Yeah,
years of just legal, but that agency at the time it had a right to stop and search vehicles as it saw fit. If
illicit potatoes,
if it thought they had more potatoes than were allowed.
Okay.
And so
there's So is he seen as like a potato Robin Hood because he kind of made it open for everybody?
Maybe, but also, he's done things like in 2015, he gave away 200 tons of potatoes at his Spud Shed stores.
Okay.
Again, very good. Spud Shed. It's all coming together really good for this guy.
But he stays on brand.
He gave away all these potatoes because they were grown outside of his limits. But the problem was all the other farmers in Western Australia were having trouble selling their potatoes because there was 200 tons of free potatoes available to people. Yeah.
Why would I buy your potatoes?
Why would I go out and buy potatoes? When there's so many free. Yeah, 200 tons. That's
a lot.
It feels like a lot, but I bet it goes pretty fast. But this guy is just really something. But it feels to me like maybe this was a situation where the fine was so small.
Yeah.
He said to himself, it's better to go ahead with Spuddy's production and pay the fine later rather than delay things and get all the work permits. I'm thinking maybe he's lucky no one got hurt because that could have made this so much worse. But I'm not sure. What do you think of this illicit potato operation?
I feel like, and producer Eric's still working on trying to get a photo of this guy up so we can see him. But I think that we run into this so many times, and it just goes to show that it is certainly not unique to the U.S., that Australia is also dealing with the fact that if you don't have harsh penalties, people will pay them or negotiate them down and pay them and continue doing it. It's just, it's kind of, and it's unfortunate because it sounds like this guy has tried to do a lot of good for Big Potato in Australia. But I guess maybe he got drunk on the power. Just like, I can do anything potato related and get away with it. And it's really unfortunate because it seems, potatoes are the single largest vegetable crop in Australia. So it's a big role to the country's economy. Jeff, what do you think? Do you think that swifter penalties would have starched Galati from the start?
I think there's a lot of other things going on there that maybe fed into his decision. Things that made that license less appealing.
Oh, man.
Australia has some of the tightest, most stringent manufacturing regulations in the world. Mm-hmm. It is, and when it comes to environmental controls, they're on top of everything. There's a lot of different documentation and regulations and everything that you have to fall in line with, regardless of what you're manufacturing. When it comes to a food product, they're definitely elevated a little bit more. Is this the picture of them?
Where did you find that? Sorry, we're just being notified of a photo of the Spud King posing on a pallet of potatoes.
Yeah. So the two, I guess in doing some research on this guy, I didn't know this just off the top of my head.
Okay.
But apparently he always wears shorts.
Oh.
And his eyebrows.
Oh, yeah.
If you noticed, he shaved his eyebrows for charity, and there was still twice as much eyebrow left than a normal person would have.
It's good to know that the shorts are a calculated choice, because that's one thing that kind of jumps out
at that picture.
That photo.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
That's what he does.
Okay.
That's how he rolls.
Yeah.
So, getting back to the last stuff that Ben was talking about in terms of the working with the Potato Commission or Council or whatever.
Potato Marketing Corporation.
Thank you. Yeah. Yes. And shutting them down, that made a ton of sense. And it did get him a ton of notoriety there. But that was something that was in place for like 70 years. And it finally got to the point where it did need to be shut down. And he was the leading sort of the champion for that cause. And I think that did give him some hubris to kind of go forward and try to just set this up and worry about everything else later, combined with the fact that it was more complicated and it was going to take some funds and some spending and some doing. And he seems to be more of just let me grow my potatoes and do my thing.
Yeah.
Get out of my way.
Well, it's, again, like kind of the point about the fine not matching the crime. How often do we hear like the call for deregulation and tearing it all down and getting out of the way of capitalism? And this is what happens when you don't have a replacement, right? There has to be there can't be complete self-regulation, because we've proven time and again that simply doesn't work. There needs to be a good mix of public-private partnership to make sure that people stay safe. Producer Eric is just pulling up gem after gem, and you were not kidding about how he's known for the eyebrows, yeah? I just didn't know that Bert had an Australian counterpart. But it's just I think it is a stark reminder of, like, even in something as simple as potatoes, that you do need a regulatory body whatever maybe a pared down version of that.
Just manufacturing. And I think Australia's sort of their governance of this, their thought is, well, there's all these checks and balances. Either it's going to keep people from just doing these fly-by-night type of operations.
Yeah.
Like, who is actually going to be arrogant enough to just be like, I'm just going to start, making potato chips at a commercial level here without telling anybody. I don't think that is just a prevailing thought.
Yeah.
Like somebody is just going to be, that
arrogant
pictures.
Yeah. I mean,
to start doing that.
I definitely, if you're listening to this version, go to the video version of this so you can see some of these photos, or just Google Spud King. But talking about that arrogance, I mean, that's another thing that stands out to me, Ben, that, you mentioned in the article, he bought all the right equipment. He has the right facility. He did everything right. He obviously is very good at growing potatoes or procuring potatoes. And to have the audacity to be so brash as to invite regulators to the grand opening of your facility that is unlicensed, that's crazy. Like, I mean, is that a power move, do you see? Or is that, like, he had to know what he was doing, right?
Yeah, I think it's a definite power move. It doesn't seem like a rookie mistake. This is a seasoned potato executive and grower. Yeah, he's in a growth industry, and he knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
And these Spuddies are like the house brand for his Spud shed.
Yeah.
And I think this is like an important product for him, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, it sounds kind of funny to have an illegal potato chip factory, but I mean, without proper regulation, I mean, this is not a safe operation by any means. People are operating a fryer, an industrial peeler.
Yeah.
There's a lot of ways to get hurt in a place like this.
Well, a lot of ways to get hurt in a factory like that. And also, if it is a product, an unregulated product, you could get, what is that? Why does he have boxing gloves on? You could, is that the no? Okay. People could get sick, like if you put out a bad product. So I don't know. This one was a wild one. I don't know how this one was completely off my radar, but great work on this story, Ben.
Thank you.
Just as you were talking about it and you were uncovering details, I'm like, I don't believe this is real.
Yeah. Like, why can't we have a Spud King?
Yeah. Well, we had a Codfather.
Okay,
so
that's pretty good.
It's it's global, All right. Our most popular story this week: employees injured after Boeing's 787's nose landing gear collapses at an airport. So several Lufthansa employees were injured when the nose gear of a Boeing jet collapsed while the aircraft was parked at a gate at Frankfurt Airport. According to the AP, crew members and ground staff were on board this Boeing 787-9 Dreamliner when the front tip of the plane crashed to the ground just before passengers boarded for a flight to Los Angeles. If you can believe it, the flight was canceled, but not immediately. The Dreamliner is only a year old and was delivered to Lufthansa in January. It entered service in February and has flown 137 flights. Boeing said it's, quote, aware of the incident. Video footage from the scene appeared to show the front wheels of the aircraft sliding forward and the plane's nose falling to the ground. The doors to the nose gear bay broke off upon impact, and Jeff Gazzetti, we've talked about this guy before, he's a former U.S. Federal Aviation crash investigator. He told the AP it is, quote, very unusual for a nose landing gear to collapse while an aircraft is at a standstill.
That's some special input right there.
That is.
That takes a lot of experience and knowledge of the situation to be able to offer that kind of quote.
And he added to his know-how that it is too early to speculate, but he still did, saying it could be anything from prior damage to landing gear, a mechanical failure, or issues related to maintenance work. So, Jeff, that's what I was curious about. It has been a long road for the Dreamliner since its conception. Do you suspect this to be manufacturing, maintenance, or mechanical failure?
I don't know. To speculate on something like that this soon is...
It's irresponsible, just like Jeff Gazzetti said.
A little bit.
So
the leading stuff is when you look at some of the prior instances where this did happen, it was typically a maintenance issue.
Yeah.
So that would potentially be the case, but this plane is so relatively new. That's what leads you to think maybe it's something else. And it's unfortunate because, we've gone on runs on this podcast. Like for a while, we could not get away from a Tesla story.
Yeah.
We were also in the same boat with Boeing. Like we could not have an episode where there wasn't something negative, honestly, going on with Boeing. And over the last 6 to 8 months, there's actually been a lot more positive stuff going on there. Yes, their stock price continues to fluctuate and cause some problems there, but from a deliverability perspective, way up from where it was. There've been a lot of stabilization in terms of manufacturing and cutting into that backlog of orders that they had going on. So the company had made some great strides under their new CEO, Kelly Ortberg. He's done some things to stabilize the operation and help them move forward. And then you get something like this, which does not help. To the point, I was looking at some of the comments on the site. Somebody even mentioned, you know what? I try to fly an Airbus plane when I make my reservation and stay away from Boeing.
Yeah.
It's funny how that stuff just resonates when you have more episodes like this, which may not have caught the eye of everybody globally or whatever you want to say in the news cycle.
Yeah.
But it doesn't take a lot because that's those types of comments of, man, when you make your reservation, maybe think twice about flying a Boeing plane if that's what you've got. It's just interesting how all those things continue to go, and Boeing just cannot get away from it. They finally had some momentum, and then situations like this pop up, and this is going to be in the news cycle now for a while.
Yeah.
Because there's going to be ongoing investigation. There's going to be more speculation as to what's going on, and it's deserved.
Yeah.
It really is.
I was surprised how quickly the security footage came out. I was wondering if maybe there was more cell phone footage out there or something, just because it was like the airport released the footage almost as the story was breaking, which I found kind of shocking.
Well, I wonder, and maybe you guys have some thoughts, but I wonder if Lufthansa did that to get the heat off of them and put it onto Boeing.
Yeah,
like, this isn't our planes, you know, it's got our name on it, but this is the Boeing plane.
Well, and Ben, we hear it all the time when people fly out on trips in the office. People mention, like, they look at their ticket. Is it Boeing? Is it Airbus? And it's, I don't think it's at the point where anyone internally changes their plans based on what they're going to fly. But we have seen people in the market that just won't fly a Boeing jet right now because of the questions.
Yeah, and it's a massive industry. You're talking billions of dollars a year.
Yeah.
And it's going up at this time too.
Yeah.
So it's never, I don't know if it's ever been more expensive to book air travel, and to have like one of the two major providers basically turn into relatively unreliable. I mean, if this had gone, during a landing, that would have been.
Well, I mean, that was what was surprising to me too. Like, I mean, if you look at basically the Dreamliner has landing gear maintenance that ranges from, they do daily visual checks to every 10 to 12 years, they got to do a complete overhaul. So it looks like this is something that they're supposed to be looking at every day. Because I thought the same thing. I was like, they were lucky that this happened while it was, I mean, and you're never lucky to have some people injured, but if this thing was landing or taking off, it could have been so much more tragic.
It could have been so much more worse. I'll be interested to see what the investigation turns up. In particular, Germany's Federal Bureau of Aircraft Accident Investigation is looking into it. And according to Mietflug, or maybe something like that, I don't know, the first focus will be on the maintenance records and was the nose gear properly serviced since delivery, and were all post-delivery inspection requirements met. And that one seems like a stretch to me, just because this aircraft is so new. I mean, even if we all know, like, if you miss a little maintenance on your vehicle, usually the wheels don't fly off.
The wheels stay on.
If I go, a couple 1,000 miles over an oil change, the wheels stay on, and that's always something I'm confident in, I can push it a little bit and I won't, the car won't explode. So then the second thing is structural integrity. Is there a manufacturing defect in the nose gear assembly or its attachment points? And that one I think will be a much more interesting point of concern.
One, I'm curious about the speed, how quickly this investigation will happen, because we've seen, NTSB investigations be very thorough, but they take a long time, so, and I wonder if we'll see facts kind of drip out, or if it's going to be just one big report at the end of the investigation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I suspect maybe, a couple of months from now we'll get kind of a more full picture.
Yeah.
And maybe not from the NTSB right away, but possibly from this German agency.
Yeah. Well, and if it's, kind of to Jeff's point, if it is something that is glaringly not related to anything that would hold the airline responsible, you could see it maybe leaking out a little bit faster, just because you can understand why people might have some reservations about reservations, for lack of a better terrible.
Man, we are on fire.
I know, it is problematic. We got to shut the whole thing down. But it is just, in Jeff, talking about how you don't know how many people saw this. I think everyone saw this one, when it came out. But just because it is so visually striking, be curious to see what happens, and certainly not making anyone's anxieties about air travel any better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's crazy how bad it could have gotten.
Yeah. And it's, I don't know, but what was the door when the door blew off? It was the door plugs or the air plugs. It was a relatively simple, to your point, Jeff, blocking and tackling component that was missing. Basically it was maintained. I believe that the door was fixed, and they just didn't put the plugs back in, right?
Well, and another point of the investigation from the German officials is going to be on ground procedures and what was happening to it. And in this case, I found an NTSB report from 2006, a similar Boeing aircraft, not a Dreamliner, of course, but similar, was being towed, and the front, the nose landing gear did the same thing, just kind of buckled out, and no one was hurt in that situation either, luckily, because it was just being towed to a hangar or something like that at that point. But that kind of rules out another one here, because nothing was happening to it at the point. It was just parked.
Yeah. I don't know. Well,
it wasn't being towed. There was no pushback, or I don't think, I don't know how much loading is a concern when you're talking about the nose gear then too.
Yeah. No.
How many pilots do you have in there?
It was like somebody's birthday celebration.
Yeah, it was like a clown car.
Yeah. They were singing happy birthday to the pilot, jumping up and down. They had everybody in there. No, we'll continue to follow this story, just because no matter what the root cause is, it is going to be related to our industry, and we'll make sure to stay on top of it. All right, before we jump into, in case you missed it, we have another word from our sponsor, OutSystems, and the State of AI Development 2026. So, download the State of AI Development 2026, and here's what you're going to learn. The maturity benchmark, where your organization stands compared to 1,900 global IT leaders in the transition to agentic AI. The governance gap, why only 12% of enterprises have a centralized strategy, and how to avoid the, quote, fragmentation trap. Proven ROI, real-world data on how leaders are achieving a 40% increase in productivity by embedding AI directly into the software lifecycle. The 2026 CIO Roadmap, that is a practical 6-step framework to scale AI safely, modernize legacy data, and maintain human-in-the-loop accountability. So, download the State of AI Development 2026 right now. There's a link to it in the body copy and in the live chat. All right, in case you missed it, stories that weren't as popular but might stand to make a big impact on the industry going forward. To mix it up a little bit, Munson, what is your in case you missed it this week?
Okay, my in case you missed it is artificial eyes could bring human-like sight to self-driving cars and robots. Self-driving cars use advanced cameras, computer algorithms, and artificial intelligence to picture their surroundings, but they struggle to maintain reliable in mixed lighting conditions.
Okay.
So a team of researchers, co-led by an engineer from Penn State, has proposed a solution that mimics the mechanics of the human eye to adapt from bright to dark light in seconds. Basically, inside the human eye, you've heard about the series of rods and cones, right?
Yeah.
And they help to adjust vision in different lighting conditions. Like specific pigments in the rod cells allow the eye to distinguish details even in the dark. And in bright light, these pigments in the rod cells bleach before slowly regenerating, while the cone cells remain to allow the eye to discern contrasting details. Sorry, I'm going on, but the main thing is the team kind of theorized that with this process that can be mimicked in something called a memristor.
Okay.
They could offer monitoring that is more adaptive and accurate than traditional designs.
Okay.
So with all that said, and it sounds cool.
Yeah.
It sounds like it would work pretty well.
Yeah, it's biomimicry, right? So it's your headlights that work like eyes instead of just traditional headlights. I mean, and that's, what do they say? Like in 7 iterations of training, the device combined with a neural network could identify letter patterns with over 95% accuracy in mixed light environments. That is, these types of stories always kind of jump off the page, for lack of a better term, to me, just because I'm excited with the possibilities. And, we always talk about how, and people have kind of walked back how AI could be revolutionary in drug design, drug delivery, new medical devices. But I think the opportunity is still really there. And if you combine it with current research that's already happening, I don't know, I think the prospects are very exciting.
My question to you guys, though, is if your car did have eyes, where would they be? Would they be on the windshield?
Would it be like a
like in the
car
Pixar
sort of
movie?
situation?
Yeah. Or would you want them on the grill, or maybe popping up on the hood, kind of like Kermit?
Yeah. I mean, I guess when I think of a car with eyes, dating myself, go to maximum overdrive, and I see the giant Joker face on the front of the semi. So I guess I see giant red eyes. Or, I mean, there are some of those cars that have like the digital eyes on their windshields, and it's unsettling to see. But I guess I would hope the eyes would be, where would it be less creepy to see them? Like, I guess if they were, so are the headlights going to look like eyes? Where you see them like dilate?
Well, I don't know, but I do feel like, I know it sounds kind of weird, but I think this would help with consumer confidence in self-driving vehicles. If a car just had like cartoony eyes or something like that, or like, this will date me too, but like Total Recap with like a Johnny.
Oh, yeah.
Johnny Cab.
Oh, yeah. In Total Recall.
Just put a fake robot behind the wheel. It just makes you feel like, okay, someone's driving.
Yeah. I mean, but if it's
depending
on the placement, they're going to have to somehow animate how, remember when the VW Bug came back and they were putting those giant plastic eyelashes?
Oh, yes.
Over the, yeah. I mean, that's going to have to be a thing. Jeff, where do you stand on these? To Ben's question, where do you see the eyes of the car?
I'd want them on top of like the passenger cab compartment.
Okay.
Just because that way they can see it, front, back, side to side.
Oh, so you want more like a Cyclops situation, just one giant eye.
Two, both sides.
Oh, okay.
You got to be able to look around.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Well,
That'd be crazy.
If you got eyes, you want to see everything.
Right? I mean, and why just 2? We need 4.
Maybe.
Yeah. But I mean, when it comes to making lighting a little bit more human, I mean, sometimes that makes sense.
Well, I think they're looking beyond just lighting right here too, right?
Yeah.
I mean, getting into the cameras and everything else to help them detect and steer and navigate. So I think all of those things can be obviously hugely beneficial. Anything that's more natural as opposed to machine-based in terms of helping these vehicles navigate more safely, I think that's a definite increase, definite improvement. With all of these things, when we start getting into these electronic components, you just kind of wonder about the barriers to entry from a pricing perspective. Yeah. The stuff we have now, a lot of those LiDAR systems, they're kind of plug and play. Mm-hmm. They've really advanced to a point where it's not advanced technology or not considered it that advanced anymore. So implementing them isn't that cost prohibitive. We start getting to more stuff like this initially. Yeah, it could be. So it'd be interesting to see how much better they are and how that leads to expanded adoption of them.
It makes me wonder what the hit rate is on automotive patents, right? Because obviously a big part of this, after they published their work, they patented the idea. But what do you think 1% of automotive patents actually winds up in commercial vehicles? Or do you think that's high?
Boy, I don't know.
Just because there are so many.
Well, and it's so easy to steal that stuff. I mean, to really get it protected, under those types of trademarks, because, if you offset it by enough, or if you put a little bit different material in there, you can potentially get your own. So that's interesting. I don't know.
Well, and if this is as revolutionary as they're talking about, you would kind of hope it would be kind of open source, not necessarily a proprietary thing. You know, like we don't run you over like the other robo-taxis. Like that's, I mean, it's a great selling point, but you don't want people getting run over.
And one that'd be very glaring is that that was unintentional. That's actually why I stumbled, because I'm like, I don't know. But as your Uber is approaching, just like, oh, okay, I feel a little better because my robo-taxi is blinking. But I don't know. Like, I mean, talking about preventative maintenance with the other story, the last Uber I got into, we took a turn and I thought the back wheel was going to fall off. So it's just anything to feel a little bit safer in an Uber is good to me, or any car for that matter. All right, in case you missed it this week, why the brothers Bowman moved their boutique fly fishing firm from California to Colorado. So last month, Coulter Backcountry, a fly fishing apparel and gear company, joined Colorado's Rural Jumpstart Initiative. That's a program that's designed to attract businesses to rural, economically distressed counties in Colorado. So, for a designer and manufacturer of minimalist backcountry fly fishing gear, this was kind of a perfect fit. Coulter Backcountry was founded by two brothers, Patrick and Daniel Bowman, who were inspired to create ultralight backcountry gear after thru hiking the 3,100-mile Continental Divide Trail. And thru hiking, that's one where you start at the beginning and you are not done till you're at the end of that 3,000-plus mile journey. That is insane, and I feel warm just thinking about it. Coulter makes these minimalist versions of essential fly fishing gear using lightweight advanced materials, and the company is moving its headquarters from Palo Alto, California to Steamboat Springs, Colorado. I picked this story because I thought we look at sometimes these government incentives and they are so big and you're just wondering, where's the money going? Like how are they using it? What kind of impact is it going to have? And this makes sense as a very more of a, I guess when you say more scalpel, because it is very precise. Coulter is going to receive $15,000 in grant funding to support the launch of its operations, as well as 4 years of tax benefits. Now, another reason that I picked this was because this Jumpstart program has some cool incentives, like eligible employees will also receive a personal state income tax credit while the company is in the program. So, I mean, I think that means if you work for them, I mean, talk about it being hard to get employees to rural areas. If you don't have to pay income tax, that is a heck of an incentive. As a small business, I interviewed Patrick for the story, and he said, as a small business looking to grow, it can be difficult to find the capital and resources necessary to make that happen. He said the Rural Jumpstart program offers some incredible incentives. Coulter is going to use the program's incentives to help with product development. You know, a lot of their operations are product development and operations, manufacturing are kind of spread throughout the U.S. and they want to bring more of that in-house in Colorado. But as of April 2026, there are 34 active new businesses participating in this program across the state of Colorado. It's going to create almost 700 new full-time jobs at or above the county's average annual wage. So I chose this story just because sometimes it doesn't need to be a big dollar amount. You know, we're talking 15 grand here. It's not going to be a huge winner in terms of jobs. We're talking 34 companies, 700 jobs, but this could make or break some small businesses, and this could help make or break some small communities. And I thought it was a really cool story. Jeff, I don't know if you had a chance to check this out, but what were your thoughts on the brothers Bowman?
No, cool story. Cool application, again, of these tax credits and things like that. In terms of the dollar amount, like you said, pretty low. So there's low risk for the government as well, but also a ton of incentive for these small businesses to not just try something, throw it against the wall, but also bring some employees in. Now, it's not a ton, but even if it's 10, 15, 20, that's still job growth. That's still giving new and unique opportunities to people to invest, if you will, in these small businesses.
Yeah.
So no, cool stuff all the way around.
Well, this isn't sort of like application award. This is like more of a partnership where the local county, basically like the Chamber of Commerce and the local county, is going to work closely or hand in hand with this company to help facilitate growth with other incentives. Ben, I don't know if you had a chance to check out the story. And I mean, I get it. Like I'm not a fly fisherman, but I've walked long distances and I've carried heavy things, and I can have an appreciation for wanting to make those things lighter. And while I don't fly fish, I do ice fish, and I do like to get out on the lake and fish as well. And I understand that, that equipment can be pricey, it can be heavy, and a lot of times it doesn't work as expected. So I can really appreciate what they're trying to do here.
Yeah, and this business seems like a very unique fit, or a very kind of perfect fit for this program.
Yeah.
I think it's great that they were able to make this happen. I think it is a nice program that's focusing on smaller businesses. So like you're saying, Jeff, the impact will be, less, but it's also in rural areas where, 10 to 15 jobs counts for a lot more than something massive.
Yeah.
And you don't always want the environmental impact of something massive in those areas too.
True. I mean, especially when we're talking about these, I have to assume is like Steamboat Springs. I don't know a lot about the community, but I mean, you're right. People are probably very mindful to bringing a major manufacturing operation in to that area. One thing I asked Patrick if he had any advice for other entrepreneurs, just because we know how difficult it can be to make it. And he said, just keep at it. He said, building a business often feels messy and complicated. This is especially true when your product or service is also a personal passion. It's important to find a community of mentors and peers who can help you navigate unknowns. I would also highly recommend finding a co-founder or business partner. It's way more fun to run this company with my brother, and then it would be on my own. So I don't know. A lot of things about this story really resonated with me, and I wish them nothing but the best of luck. Jeff, what's your in case you missed it this week?
Yeah, I picked a story off of medicaldesignanddevelopment.com talking about Siemens getting $6.9 million to boost medical device cybersecurity. As you may be aware of, I'm kind of like, I like things that lead to the other things. I've maybe mentioned that once or twice. And I thought this was a story that kind of offered an opportunity to expand on that or talk about that a little bit here. So Siemens and their health and ears.
I mean, I've even heard him, but yeah.
Anyway, entered into a project with, and I was not aware of this agency, the Advanced Research Projects Agency for Health. So not DARPA, ARPA-H. Okay. So they're focused on enhancing the cyber resilience of medical devices. They're teaming up with Siemens here, again, with the goal being to have an autonomous cyber threat solution that enables proactive security updates, reducing the uncertainty and manual effort necessary to secure hospitals. Again, another big part of this whole initiative. Since 2016, cyber attacks have cost the healthcare industry over $77 billion, with over $15 billion in 2023 alone. I want to pause there for a second because those are huge numbers.
Yeah.
Healthcare is below manufacturing in terms of the number of attacks, the amount of ransomware paid out, and how they continue to be manufacturing continues to be the number one targeted industry when it comes to cybersecurity. The increasing prevalent attacks have led to delays, this is for the hospital, delays in treatment, cancellation of procedures, and reliance on paper records and emergency rooms are often forced to divert ambulances. This is a great thing for hospitals and for medical care. But when we think about what we need in manufacturing, it's keeping the lights on, keeping the plants moving. That's what this is about if you look at it on a more pragmatic level, okay? Obviously, we're talking about saving people's lives and making sure that hackers aren't getting in there and able to hold people ransom in order to provide healthcare services. We need a similar type of dynamic when it comes to industrial control systems.
Yeah.
Those ICSs, I'm not even just talking about manufacturing. I'm talking about infrastructure. I'm talking about water treatment facilities. I'm talking about utilities, energy plants, all of these types of things that we rely on every day. They're running more outdated systems than our healthcare folks are.
Yikes.
So when we look at ARPA-H, putting out this type of money, and ARPA is they are within the Department of Health and Human Services. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's get into some of the other areas as well. When we look at the DOT and what they could do for infrastructure, when we look at some of the other government agencies and where they are involved, the things at critical infrastructure, let's get some of these projects going as well. Not just, healthcare, I don't want to diminish from this effort or put it lower on the priority, but we have these needs in other areas, and we need to start emulating these types of programs for, again, critical infrastructure, again, manufacturing as well. Get this stuff into the industrial system so we can start developing these things to keep the lights on and the plants moving and the water clean and all of that good stuff, just like they're doing here. There's a model that we can copy and can be used in other areas.
So is this model, is this cybersecurity specific to medical devices?
Well, and it's
like would people ransom your pacemaker?
Well, okay, that's something that we kind of hear about.
No, I know. That's why, because I didn't know if it was medical device cybersecurity or like medical ecosystem.
It all worms together, and that's part of the problem. Right now with the way ERP isn't exclusive to manufacturing. Hospitals and other big enterprises use it as well.
Yeah.
So if a hacker can get in using your MyChart,
Yeah.
log in and use that to obtain more information about what you're doing and where records are being stored, then potentially they know how to either get into those bigger software systems or the hospital itself. And yes, then they can ransom personal information, they can shut down equipment, all of those types of things. Now, typically, they're going more for data, and they're just trying to steal it and ransom it. There hasn't been too many heartless individuals who have tried to shut down defibrillators and, heart monitors and things of that nature.
Yeah.
But they could. And these are things that they're putting in place to make sure that even the fear of a cyber attack doesn't lead to a discontinuation of services because they have to worry about somebody getting in and disrupting this device because there's some sort of vulnerability that's been posted on the dark web.
Well, and one thing we talk about when it is such a vulnerability, it does seem like a rather modest amount of money, like almost $7 million. Do you think, Ben, that this is the type, is this just a step in the right direction, and are those funds enough to kind of get things moving?
Well, I think to a certain degree, at least at Siemens Healthineers, right?
Yep.
But I think other medical device OEMs are going to follow suit, especially after sort of the high profile stuff that happened earlier this year with Stryker and just, medtech in general becoming more of a target just because it's they have a long list of like legacy technologies and they're kind of falling behind in investing on technology.
Yeah.
I actually spoke with Accenture's cybersecurity lead for health. I think that was last month or maybe 2 months ago.
Yeah.
And he saw this as a vertical that's being targeted, maybe not so much for financial gain, but specifically for disruption.
Yeah.
And this is, as we found out with Stryker, it was a hacking group that was backed or traced back to Iran, I believe.
Well,
so I think the more these high profile things happen, so this does sound like a small amount of money to put towards it, but it's a start, at least at this company. And I think there's a lot of balls rolling and they're going to kind of converge on the issue at some point.
Well, and if there's an operation that can replicate it into other markets, I feel like Siemens and their engineers can make it happen. I got to say, I give them a little bit of the benefit of the doubt because when I first heard the term Healthineer, I can't remember the story, but it was like a feel-good kind of Christmas time story, and I'm just like, I like everything about this. You're right, call them Healthineers. And so I don't know. I would have the same groan typically, but I'm just like, I don't know. I think they're all just swell people.
They're doing good work.
All right, well, let's get our final thoughts before we get out of here. Ben, what's your final thought this week?
So an Italian restaurant in my hometown,
okay.
Just last week, they posted this incredibly sexist YouTube video about why they prefer to hire male servers, and now they're getting an appropriate amount of criticism, and people are even talking about boycotting the restaurant, which is, I think, their right to do.
Yeah.
But somehow this situation has brought up the kind of same old misconceptions about the First Amendment, and I'm just shocked at how this persists.
Yeah. Just like
people still conflate free speech with not having to face any consequences for saying terrible things, and that's just not the case. These gentlemen at this Italian restaurant can say all the terrible stuff they want as long as it's protected free speech.
Yeah.
They can't dabble in hate speech or anything like that. But and actually, what they were saying might not even be protected because they were kind of teetering on, hiring. Breaking some hiring rules,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And so, but they say, people are saying they have a right to say whatever they want, move on.
Move on.
Yeah, move on or get over it. But it's like, that's not how it works. They do have a right to say what they said, but people have a right to exercise their free market will and not go to this restaurant. You can't say they can be hateful and you still have to go to the restaurant. You have to keep going. But it's like, no, that's not how it works. So I'll be interested to see how it works out for these fellows, but I don't think it's going to be good.
No, especially in a relatively smaller community. I haven't seen the video and I don't know much about it, but I do know that this is a pervasive problem in our culture, right? With this whole hey, it is my First Amendment right to say whatever I want to say. And it's like, yes, it is. Mm-hmm. And it is my First Amendment right to say whatever I want to say in response to that and choose how I'm going to interact with your business as a result of the things that you said. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, I think that, a lot of times that becomes very problematic. Just when you're winding up in an argument over whether or not you have the right to say it, rather than, hey, let's talk about what they said, why they said it, and how we could maybe mend as a community and maybe see whether or not these business owners are a part of it going forward. Mm-hmm. Because that's a real question you got to ask. Like, hey, are these people that a business that we want to prop up? Jeff, anything on?
No, I agree. I think you guys, I agree 100% with what you guys said.
I'll send you the video if you want, in case you feel like getting very angry today.
Anytime there is some sort of local story that'll get me real fired up, particularly before bed. So, if you could send it to me,
you may have been to this place.
This was not tongue in cheek. This was.
No, it's not tongue in cheek. They're very serious, and they're doubling down now in local news.
Oh, great!
Weird.
Yeah. They seem kind of oblivious to what they're talking about, and I think this owner and this establishment already kind of had a bit of a reputation, but now it's really going widespread. And
I think that you put yourself in a very precarious situation when you all of a sudden start trying to go viral or trying to be provocative, and as a result, you wind up cutting your potential customer base by large percentages. And that is a risky gamble. And a hateful one that has no business in our culture. My final thought this week is a little bit more uplifting, but also, as we kind of mentioned at the beginning of this, it's been a bit of a rough week for our family. We started summer break with a bang. I spent 2 days at home just helping with bridge care before school getting out and camp starting. And man, my son got off the bus at 11 a.m. and by 11:03, he had a broken arm, and not just a little broken arm, as the doctor said. Oh yeah, he broke it all. He broke it real good. It's one of those situations where the doctor's just like, you got to see this thing. You want to? I'm like, and he's like, you want to get your phone? I'm like, oh my God, he wants me to take a. He's like, yes, of course I do. But I just want to say that I am lucky enough that we haven't had as much exposure to advances in modern medicine, but I was just very shocked and encouraged by the amount of technology that we had at our disposal in the UW-Madison Children's Hospital. And to see how they can do x-rays in real time while they were setting this bone back into place, while it was the most violent thing I have seen pretty much since he was born. And it was incredible. And so all the healthcare providers were very kind and welcoming, and I really felt like we got the best care available to us, and so I'm very thankful for that. And so while it does send our summer spiraling in a different direction, it always could be worse, and we're going to adapt and move forward. Hopefully, we're like on a one limb per summer basis. Like we got it out right away. But Jeff, your final thought.
Well, I'm going fishing this weekend, and one of the big things is always getting prepared, getting ready, thinking about all this different stuff. And a buddy of mine actually added another thing to the list. You guys will appreciate this one. So he keeps his boat stored in a barn, kind of. He's got a bigger place and all that. And he also has cats on the farm, running around, pets but... So he took the boat out this past weekend, and him and his brother are out there. They're fishing, and all of a sudden, you can guess what they may have heard coming from the front of the boat. No. It was the meow. They thought something was like set some sort of weird alarm or alert on a phone or something. No. Here, the cat had crawled underneath, got into kind of the front part of the boat, found a comfortable place, was in there the ride all the way up to the lake, launching the boat, 2 hours into the fishing trip. So I've seen dogs on boats. I've never seen a cat out fishing before.
Yeah.
But this was a new one. So another thing to think about when you're taking the boat out to get ready, make sure there's no pets on board, I guess, because, it would be an interesting, I can't even imagine like one of my cats wandering around on a boat in the middle of the lake.
Yeah.
That would not go well.
No, just you got to check.
So they were towing the boat on the road and the cat was just hanging.
Did not make a noise. They didn't know. Like, they took it up there
probably
first thing in the morning. Did not hear it until about 2 hours into the trip. I mean, launching the boat, everything. Like there would have been plenty of things that could have potentially sounded the cat off. But
I know that I have one cat in particular where you probably wouldn't have heard her while towing it, but definitely while even
the cat was even cool on the boat. Like didn't really create a fuss. Isn't that? That's crazy.
My cat would like poke its head out and immediately jump into the water.
Yeah,
just go crazy. Well, that is a good,
That's great. I mean, sometimes you have to stumble onto something to find out it's a good idea, but a fishing cat is a good idea. That's a good idea. Did they catch one for it?
They did okay.
Oh, man. Just throw catch a tiny perch or something. That's got to be the cat's best day ever. Just like it's never been more fresh.
You are going to love this.
We did have...
unless it's a house cat, I'd be like, ew, it smells. Still wiggling.
We did have Hunter actually reached out and thought that your tool from the previous episode thought it was a club and towel holder for golf, which I could kind of see, like if you put the club through the hole.
Okay.
But I don't know.
Yeah.
Something else. And I have launched a fair amount of watercraft in my day. Never once have I looked for cats.
No.
Any sort of feel.
Something else to think about.
You got to check for them. Yeah.
It is. I'm going to add it to the checklist in the garage. Just have you looked for cats? Ours or otherwise. All right. Well, before we get out of here, please make sure to like, share, and subscribe to the podcast. You can help us out a lot by leaving the podcast a positive review on whatever platform you use. If you want to email the podcast, you can reach any of us at Jeff, Ben, or David at IN.com with email the podcast in the subject line. You can subscribe to our daily newsletter. Make sure you get it delivered to your inbox first. And subscribe to us on Apple Podcast, Spotify, and YouTube so you can get a notification whenever we go live. All right, for Jeff Ranke and Ben Munson, I'm David Manti. This is the Today Manufacturing Podcast, and we will see you next week.